So I'm just speaking freely here. I'm not sure how this is going to go because I'm thinking on what I'm saying while I'm saying it. It's not like I've decided already. But what I'm thinking is of men going their own way, or MGTOW. I'm thinking it has a lot of credibility from what I've found out so far. I have some more looking into it to do. So I'd appreciate some tips on how I might find out more, but I can find out stuff anyway. But the thing on my mind is MGTOW for me would be quite a big departure from the way I've lived my life up to now. But I'm thinking, from what I know of it so far, it has a lot of credibility and a lot of wisdom in it as regards the welfare of men. I've messed up in life already in my relationships with women, and it has cost me dearly. And I'm yet to find out the full scale of the cost, but it's a heavy cost. So I'm wondering how I educate my son and influence my son in a positive way and an accurate way. So I am wondering how I find out more about MGTOW. Specifically, I can find things out for myself anyway, but I'd appreciate information as well. But I'm thinking, I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking a change is afoot. It's not like I have evidence of a change necessarily, but the information I found up to now has led me to believe that something has to change. And it seems very clear that men have to look after themselves a lot better than they have up to now. And the social order, the way things are designed at the moment simply are not intelligent for men. It's basically not intelligent for men to pursue life as it has been up to now. I think a large change will be happening. I don't know how quickly, but definitely in due course, men will seek to take care of themselves more. I think the situation for men is too unfair and too unjust, and so, in a sense, when men won't have a choice but to take care of themselves more, the evidence of the problems facing men as society is structured today are becoming more and more clear. And it may be men have to face up to a certain fact that pursuing women for sex and the pleasure of sex will need to be, what's the word? I'm not sure if it's fair to say disregarded, but I think it needs to be put in light, in context of what the consequences are. And this is a very new thought for me, but I'm thinking that sexual relations with women are becoming or have become very dangerous for men. Men have to protect themselves more, and it may mean foregoing sexual relations to an extent, or maybe men need to protect themselves more as regards sexual relations with women. The consequences, the negative consequences for men, all too often mean that men have to defend themselves more. And that may mean a sacrifice in sexual contact with women to possibly a large extent. And it's difficult to judge this And this is a very new thought for me, so I haven't really looked at the details or anything. But basically, sex has to be reduced as a priority for men. It has to be pushed back in how men see the world. It has to be less of a goal for men. And it's a tragic reality, but I think it is reality. And it has to be faced up to, I think. The negative consequences for men are too extreme. And I don't think that men have a choice but to push back the attraction of sex and the goal of sex. It has to be much less of a priority in life. I don't know how the need for sex can be controlled, but the automatic need that men have, the biological imperative for sex, has to be controlled and managed. And the details are very fuzzy for me right now. As I said, it's a new thought. But I think it would inform my tuition of my son to the extent that I'm allowed to have contact with my son. But I'm thinking it should be a target for men to reduce their dependence on women and to push back on the sexual imperative. As I say, this is very new thinking, and sex is obviously incredibly attractive, and it has been a goal very much in my life to an extent. And for many men, sex is the number one thing in life to a large extent. But the consequences for men are all too often negative regarding sex. So somehow, I think, initially, the men have to make sex much less of a priority in life in order to defend themselves, protect themselves from the variety of negative consequences as a result of pursuing sex. Men are too much enslaved by the sexual imperative, and that has to change. There needs to be much more effort to reduce the incredible need for sex and to reduce the priority of sex in our lives and find other avenues for the sexual energy. It needs to be applied elsewhere somehow. This is brand new thinking for me, and I don't know of any solutions necessarily. What I do know is that something has to change, and soon, and quite radically. Men have to not see sex as the main thing in life. It's difficult to know how sex fits into life for the modern man, because it is a very dangerous area to be in. And there's too much that a man is giving up in pursuit of sex. Too many consequences. It's an incredibly new way of looking at the world that I'm finding. But it's very interesting, and it does give hope.